How's it going, everybody? Happy Thursday. Almost to the end of the week. The year is slipping through our fingers. Man, where do it go? I hope you guys are doing great. And thanks for all the shout outs and support for Guitar Party last week. We had a really fun night. Super fun. I was thrilled that we got into some acoustic world guitar jam in the beginning of the show. It's been my dream for a long time. Years ago, when I first met Tom, I would go over to his house and he would sell stuff for me on eBay. This is like 20 years ago, longer. And we would sit and jam. He would always teach me something on guitar, on acoustic guitars on his couch. It was so fun. Good memories. And then, Guthrie and I were housemates for years. The Carruthers Brothers in 12th South, which is now a high-end shopping tourist experience in Nashville. But it didn't used to be. It used to be a little sleepy neighborhood full of musicians. It was pretty cool. Anyway, we are, Tom and I and Guthrie, conspiring to write a bunch of acoustic songs and start working on a record over the winter months when it slows down here in town. So I'm trying to just kind of come up with some, scattered bits and pieces, some riffs and some chord changes and, just anything that might point its way towards a piece of music, a song. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today and give you a quick breakdown of our new tune, which Tom titled Rough in the Country, which I love, which is this tune. That's a riff I've been kicking around for a couple of years. And as with a lot of ideas, I come up with a lot of things just kind of sitting on the couch playing an unplugged electric guitar, usually annoying my wife and kids. But it's a great space, I feel like, to subconsciously just kind of noodle, and every now and then you find yourself stumbling upon to a theme or an idea that's kind of going somewhere. So I think what I was doing one day was just sitting down playing fifths, E and B, G and D, A and E, C and G, D and A. And that was the first little thing that kind of, once I was doing it, I stopped and sort of paid attention to what I was doing, because I was like, oh, this could actually turn into something. And then I'm a pretty big Mark Knopfler fan, as much of his singing and writing as I am even of his guitar playing. I think he's just a brilliant all-round musician, artist. One of the greats. No doubt about it. And so I was sort of thinking about this, which I sort of associate with him because there's something sort of Scottish, Irish, Celtic about the sound of that reminds me of him. There's a record of his called Golden Heart that I think maybe was the first, I could be wrong, I think it was the first post-Dire Straits solo record of Mark Knopfler's. Not 100% sure on that, but it was the first time I started to hear sort of Celtic-esque things mixed in with his, you know, musical sensibilities, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. So the next part of the song is it starts with those moving fifths. And it has this little thumb pattern. And I was trying to come up with sort of like a, you know, Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed kind of, just a really simple pattern. And to keep the thumb moving at the same time. So you got the bass going. It's all got to fold into each other, you know. And that was it. That was all I had for a couple of years. And I thought it might turn into a song with lyrics, and maybe it will someday, but last month I was talking to Brett Papa, and you know, we've been inching towards doing a course, songwriting course, you know, or, you know, a course about writing and how to incorporate guitar parts and guitar playing into creating pieces of music, you know, writing songs, which is kind of where my heart is, my musical heart is in general, is, you know, writing, creating music. And I said, you know, we should do an acoustic video, just as a bit of fun. I've always loved Guthrie's mandolin playing from years ago, and you know, Tom and I used to sit on the couches and play acoustic guitars years ago, and I just thought it'd be fun to do. And so I had that seed, that little song seed of an idea, and we, you know, before we were shooting, we were sort of like kicking around, you know, what would a B section for the song be? And I sort of had an inkling of this. I love the sound of this C major 7 against a B, a minor 7, down to a hillbilly A7. That's all the B section is. It just kind of, it goes around that a couple of times, and you know, Guthrie's rocking on the mandolin, and then as we got into it, we thought, let's write another section, a third section for the song, you know, we thought, I've always loved the sound, and Tom too. I think actually Tom came up with this D major against the A minor 7, which is really fun to play over on mandolin too. You know, those are just fun changes to play in general, by the way. A D against an A minor. And so that became the third part of the third section. And then there's a riff section at the very end, which I'll break down. No, maybe we'll do this in a couple of steps because it's a lot to learn in one hit. Anyway, let me give you the A section one more time. There's a hammer on in the beginning, hammering on A to B and playing the E at the same time. And I try to get that as ugly sounding as I can. And as you go, you can smooth out each riff, and it sort of becomes it goes from kind of like dirty and disheveled to sort of smooth and rollicking by the time you get to the A section. There you go. And then B section again. Here's that rolling pattern real quick. So actually, it's really tricky to play slow. Yeah. So. But you want to get the in there. Ah. There you go. It's about as slow as I can play it. It's tricky. Anyway, the important thing is to get that. That reminds me of the Birds for some reason. Anyway, there you go. There's something to work on, and we'll have a fully recorded version of it probably in a couple months, and a bunch of other tunes that we're going to write. So hit me up with any questions. I am tuned a half step down, E flat. I don't really know why. It just is. So sorry if that's a pain in the ass. I do like E flat, and some purists kind of are not into it, but I do like a little bit of extra elasticity on the feel of the guitar when you're tuned a half step down. And as far as right-hand stuff, I know we talk about this a lot, but using fingers and your pick and being able to store your pick between your fingers is the way you get that really funky B section. You know, I tell people that all the time. It's really handy to be able to, you know, I keep mine between my first and second finger. You just do whatever works for you, but being able to do that is handy for like shifting gears. There you go. Anything to mention? Let's see. Not really. Things are starting to slow down, which I'm glad about. It's been a really, really busy 6 months leading up to now and into Thanksgiving. if any of you have like gear questions, let me get that out of the way. It's a K&K pickup, and what I do when I try to use a little bit of effects with my acoustic sound, I literally just blend. I record one of these videos and I listen back to the level of the amplifier against the acoustic level of the guitar, and I just balance the two in real time. There's no crazy trickery with the recording at all. That's it. It's as simple as I can possibly make it. So it's just a little bit of, I'm running through my little pedal board, my electric pedal board, into my deluxe reverb. That's it. There you go. Nothing to it. Helps having a nice acoustic guitar, and I love this one. This was made in Australia years ago by a man named Brian DeGrucci, who was a national treasure to those of us that knew him. Amazing guy. All right. Hope you guys are doing great, and yeah, a lot more to come. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag about a couple things, but there's some pretty fun things that we're working on behind the scenes for next year, and yeah, more to come about all that. I'm excited. It's going to be super fun next year. Let's see. Maybe I'll give you one more little riff to chew on over the weekend. Let's see. Oh yeah. I do lessons every week with different guys that want to, some people want to learn about writing, some people want to learn about just guitar stuff. And one thing I noticed this week, I was talking to my friend Casey out in Portland about half-step bends. You know, there's a lot of sort of full step, but the last couple of years I've been getting into this, just thinking a half step below where I'm about to go and bending up to the string. And just seeing, you know, what it sounds like when you're doing it. There's one. Sorry. You know, any kind of small variation you can add to what you're doing to try and make it musical. There's so many little things you can do with the right hand as well by, you know, just by varying up your intensity, muting. I've noticed lately, like, switching between intensities of how hard I'm playing things with my right hand. Like I was talking about at the beginning of Rough in the Country. Switching from like aggressive to a smooth thing is just another way to, you know, vary up the story of what you're doing. And you know, it's super subtle, but I swear it does make a difference when people are just listening and paying attention to what you're doing. It's, you know, I mean, Jeff Beck was such a master at switching gears, tonally, volume-wise, sensitivity, his attack. I mean, all that stuff it's great to be constantly experimenting with that stuff to make what you're doing interesting and musical. So there you go.